So we're finally live, everybody. Good morning. It's Chairidee Smith, Miss Mogul, here in the studio before we get started with filming our shows. I wanted to do this quick live and share with you all some of the wonderful things that are happening in the Roar Women's Network. For those of you who may not know, we have relaunched Roar Women's Network. Now we're rebranded. We are now Roar Global. So what does this mean to you? It now means that we can service your business, help you grow your product or service, mentor you in Ghana, in Latin America, and the USA. So now we are Roar Global. If you want more information about the organization, go to youcancreateyourown.economy.com and then click on Global Initiatives, find out more about the organization and what we're up to, not only here in the US, but literally around the world. So excited about that. Also, make sure you subscribe to the website for updates. Now, we are still working on the website, lots of information being added. So you want to be apprised of all of that when it comes out. Make sure that you subscribe to youcancreateyourown.economy.com and get not only the updates for Roar Women's Network, but also what we're doing with the Create Your Own Economy movement. More happening with that. We have a tour coming up. We have the annual Roar Conference coming back. Yes, it will be aired globally this year in all three locations, Ghana, USA, and parts of Latin America. That conference will be August 11th. Stay tuned for that. More things are coming up with that as well. Now, let me jump in right quick and talk to you all about 5 tips. I want to share with you quickly 5 tips to 10x your business, your ministry, your organization, whatever organism you lead, how to 10x that growth with strategic collaboration. So get your pen, or as I always say, get your laptop and your latte, and let's write this down right quick. So now, why do you want to create strategic partnerships? First of all, you want to create a following that fits your brand, okay? You want to create a sense of community and brand loyalty around what you do, what product or service you provide. These loyalists, as I call them, will be the best advertisement your business, your product or service could ever have. So you want to create a sense of buy-in, right? You want to reward those people who work with you, who follow you, who share your content, who share your events. Make sure you create a community. Secondly, you want a following that translates into sales. Now, this was a huge mistake I made earlier on in business where I confused, and many people do this, confuse followers, if you will, for buyers and patrons. They are not the same. And so you want to now create an intentional community around you where those people who buy into your product or service so much that they now create a sales funnel for you. That means your value has to be inherently there. The product or service has to be stellar, top shelf, right? We want to provide, I should say, the best experience. So then the client or the lead or the follower would then translate into a potential sales funnel. Now, you also want to create exposure within synergistic markets. Now, you all know that I'm in real estate, right? Primarily in the investing sector. So I am strategically creating partnerships with attorneys, with doctors, with politicians and city officials, with mortgage lenders, with realtors. Now, you may think, okay, why the doctors? Why the attorneys? Attorneys and doctors are some of the best leads, you all, for off-market properties. Now, I'm speaking the language of the investor right now. And why do we love those properties that are off-market? Usually, these are the properties that have a high desire, if you will, to do a transaction. These are people who either want to get rid of the property for a plethora of reasons. Either someone has passed away, they've inherited the property, they no longer want to pay taxes on the property, they don't have a vision for the property, they're a landlord who's just tired of it and want to get out. There are just a lot of reasons why, but they talk to their attorneys about these properties and they talk to their doctors because sometimes the doctors are giving the medications behind the stress of it all, right? So these people, these two populations of professionals can be potential sales leads for me as an investor and a developer. So strategically, I want to create a niche within these two populations where I'm a problem solver. So if you're writing notes, that's a good thing to write down. Strategic partnerships are built on problem solving. So you want to be a solution. What's my solution? I can help you get out of a situation if you're about to default on a mortgage, or if you just don't want to pay the taxes anymore. I can now purchase that property from you, take that burden off of your hands, right? And now rehab that property, create jobs locally, and now create a culture of economic development with that one event or with that one property. So that's how I would do it. You may have a different way of doing that in your industry. So make sure, thank you, Too Tall, for tuning in. I see you there. So it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. Find ways to strategically collaborate. I also talk to city officials who may be dealing with blight in certain areas, right? And they want to get rid of these lots, right? Because these lots are not paying property taxes. The city is having to carry the debt of that land. I'm a problem solver. So I'll come into the city, I'll take over those lots, I'll develop them, I'll sell them, I'll flip them, whatever the case may be, but we'll start to now generate an income from that dormant property. Be a strategic problem solver. So if there is a theme for strategic collaborations, it's being a problem solver. So make sure you write that down. Now, you want to identify who will be your primary and be your secondary partners. Now, what do I mean by that? There are strategic partners who you will have at the table each and every time you conduct a business transaction. These are the people who are real stakeholders in the success of your business. So these could be your attorneys, these could be your accountants, etc. These people, your consultants, these people who are really vested, your suppliers, primary suppliers, who are really vested in your business or service. But then you may have secondary strategic partnerships where you do occasional business with these particular partners. They don't necessarily carry out the big picture the decision making or problem solving, but they may help with an aspect of it. You want to identify what role these strategic partners will play, hopefully at the onset. Now, you may say it takes time to develop that kind of knowledge, and you're right. But here's how you expedite that. What you would do then is do your due diligence prior to entering that collaboration, meaning you would need to know what product or service, what market do they serve? What's their niche? What's their corporate culture? Does it mesh with what your business is doing? And so that may be a primary strategic partner you have at the table each and every time you do a transaction. But if it's a vendor may be a secondary collaboration, right? So you want to make sure you know the roles that people play and invest in them accordingly. All right. So secondly, will this relationship have the capacity? This is something you want to think about when developing your strategic collaborations. Will this relationship have the capacity to adjust and grow as your brand adjusts and grows? Do they have the capacity? Are they going in the same direction? Can you all absorb a new product, absorb a new service? Can you rebrand together? Does it mesh? Right? You want to ask those questions. Or is this, again, an occasional alliance where that may not be as important? Here's another question you want to ask about whether this is a primary or secondary strategic partner. Is there a global partner with a similar brand or business structure with a broader reach than you? Can you create a global niche with this partner? So many of you are thinking about taking your product or service globally. And I absolutely champion that. Absolutely. But here's what you want to consider. Not only how the business structure is set up, meaning how do they do business there? Because I promise you, when you go into emerging markets or global markets, the US market is quite different when you work globally, right? So you want to find out, one, what is the business structure? And does it mesh well with what you're doing here stateside in the US? If that's a go, then you go to the next tier. Do they have a broader reach? Meaning, if they're in the UK, do they now have a reach in Asia that may meet your business objective? If that's the case, then you pursue it further. Do they have a particular niche that you've been waiting to get into and they already have a market hold there, but you can add value to that and now create a new market share within that niche? These are questions that you need to ask and contemplate when you are developing global partners who will be strategic collaborations moving forward. Now, do you have alignment with this particular brand? And what do I mean by alignment? Do they share your business goal, right? Do they share your content? Do they complement your sales structure or your sales goals? Here's the point I'm making. If there is an influencer that you can collaborate with, let's just say for an event or for a new product, or for me, it may be a new course that I'm launching on real estate investing. If there is an influencer that meets my standards of branding, right? It's a clean brand. It is positive in its culture. There are no social issues that I may not, that may be detrimental to my brand of business. None of that is attached to it, but they're not necessarily in my niche, but I see a way that we can collaborate. There may be a place for alignment there to partner with influencers to now broaden your scope and broaden your message. You want to consider that. Consider looking at social media or looking within some of the online personalities and see if there's a place there for you to create a collaboration that would be a win-win scenario for both of you, for both parties. Now, here is something that I want to say, particularly to women leaders. And you may think, well, that's my market. So nugget for you all. We want to be careful with partnering with brands that do not necessarily fit our corporate culture or what our brand stands for. I've seen time and time again, people that I've mentored would partner with other people who are in the market, who have a huge audience, have a huge following, but maybe they have a different demographic that does not necessarily mesh well with the messaging that my client or my mentee has. But they'll partner trying to expand the scope, and it ends up being a disastrous failure for both parties. Here is my point. If you have a clean, what I call clean brand, where you don't necessarily promote smoking or profanity or some of those things, then it would be detrimental to partner with a brand that has that as the corporate culture just so you can get more followers. It then dilutes your message and it dilutes your brand. So you want to make sure you're partnering with people, you all, who have the same kind of messaging. You can agree with their branding and their culture. You agree with their narrative. May not be the same, but there's agreement there. So that's something that you want to be clear about. And you all, if it doesn't fit, then give a clear no to that. Because for every time you partner with someone that does not mesh well with you, you're saying no to the one who could be in that place. So give the no to the wrong and make room for the right. All right. Finally, in strategic collaborations, it used to be that a handshake was all you needed for a business contract because people had a level of integrity and an awareness of the law and genuine goodwill. I think that's still the case. However, we do business very differently. And I'm all about protecting intellectual property. I'm all about ensuring that expectations and outcomes are clear. I'm all about making sure that roles are properly defined. And the best way to do that is with a written agreement. Okay? So if you're going to enter a strategic collaboration, please, I strongly admonish you to consider having a written contract. And don't just write the contract, get it notarized, file it, make sure both of you or everyone participating has a copy. And what this does, you all, is keep everyone aware of what the end goal is. It keeps expectations clear. It keeps roles defined. And it keeps confusion down. You know what else it does? It keeps the sales funnel open because everyone knows what lane they're playing in. They know what the expected end goal is, Everyone knows what role they're playing. The quarterback is not with the linebacker, and there's no confusion, right? Make sure you have a written agreement and that everyone is understanding, really clear in their understanding about what roles they play, what the end goal is, what the expectations are. Now, that's it for today. We're going to continue to talk about 10Xing our business through strategic collaborations. The best way to grow your sales, to grow your influence, to take your market share of the niche, to ensure that you get repeated sales and repeated business, you all referrals, referrals, referrals. And the best way to get that is through strategic collaborations, strategic relationships. All right. So that's it for now. I want to remind you to please go and subscribe to youcancreateyourown.economy.com. Make sure that you share that information. Share this video with someone who's looking or who is thinking about now, where do they take their business from here? This would be a good place to launch. Make sure that you subscribe and share this video to all of your networks. Tell people now is the time. Let's start creatively talking about what you do, what I do, and how we add value to each other for the sake of the market. All right. Lastly, make sure that you if you will, put your comments here below. If there's more information you need to know about strategic collaborations, put that in the comments below. And if you will, put in the comments, I'm 10Xing my business in 2022, or 10Xing my collaborations, or 10Xing my roar. For those of you who are in the Roar Women's Network, put that in the comments below. Also, tune in every Wednesday at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time for Mogul Talk, where I host business leaders, thought leaders, millionaires, billionaires about what's happening in the market and how you can create your own economy. And finally, I also have a book on Amazon, The Roar of a Woman. If you have not gotten this inspirational book, it is powerful, if I have to say so myself, but I don't have to say so. That's what the recommendations and what the reviews say. I highly encourage you to go to Amazon and you can get it on Amazon, The Roar of a Woman, My Journey from Silence to the Journey to the Power Within. All right, you all. Mogul Talk starts in just a few minutes. I guess you can tell I'm running all over the place, but make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mogul Life TV. Share this video with other leaders who are wanting to 10X their business in 2022. And you all join the Lioness Den. Join the Roar Women's Network for all those ladies who are in these various markets. You're looking for a place to grow, to expand, to be mentored, to grow your net worth and your network. It's in the Roar Women's Network. So that's all for now. I'll see you all with the next installment. Bye-bye for now.